we've already learned the importance of great education. Maybe it's time we talk about who are the people not imparting that great education. 65% of Pakistan. Clearly, a lot of people on the back seats are not happy with the teachers here, considering the round of applause that statement got. But 65% of Pakistanis are under the age of 30. 35% of Pakistanis are under the age of 15. In 7 years, there'll be 100 million Pakistani youth. And if you've seen them off Twitter, you can imagine what Pakistan will be like. So the question then becomes, what are we giving to these people? To all the young ones out there, my question to you today is very simple. Who is afraid of the young ones? Does Pakistan have a youth opportunity, or do we have a youth problem? I'm here to tell you that the people who've gaslighted you into thinking you're the problem are wrong. Somehow we've confused the youth. We've told them this lie that you're attention starved, you're lazy, you are the problem. Maybe let's flip JFK's dynamic today. I think very often Pakistani leaders brag about the youth bulge in Pakistan, the opportunity that prevents. I think Pakistanis brag about the bulge a bit too much. I think the question is, what are we giving to these people? Let's look at the stats. 23 million Pakistani students from the ages of 5 to 16 are out of school. That's half of the children that age. 1 out of every 20 children that are born in Pakistan do not make it to the age of 5. From the moment I started talking today, a child in Pakistan has died. That's almost 200,000 children every single year. So we're not giving them health, and we're not giving them education because half of them are outside school. What are we giving them? And somehow when some students do make it to these institutions, do graduate, any recent graduate of any university in Pakistan will tell you the dearth of good jobs. So there are no opportunities out there. Somehow a lot of bosses will tell you that it's your problem or you are the problem. We've tricked you into thinking that you are the problem. If there is no innovation in Pakistan, if there's no entrepreneurship in Pakistan, or there's not enough entrepreneurship in Pakistan, the question becomes why? How do you expect to have entrepreneurship when there's no social safety net? When innovation is stifled, you go to any organization in Pakistan and there's probably a man, and it is usually a man over the age of 60 who's in charge. Somebody who thinks TikTok is a sound a clock makes. They probably do not even know what a BTS is. Then they expect you to lead Pakistan into the future, while they are actively stifling innovation in every single organization. It's not you who's scared of technology, it's them. Which is why they do not want things to change. So my question then remains the same. Does Pakistan have a youth opportunity? Or do we have a youth problem? We're giving our kids broken pieces of a plastic fork and expecting a spaceship. And somehow, when somebody puts that together and goes to the moon and back, instead of appreciating them, they're met with derision. There's a teacher yesterday in Bannu who's probably just as smart as you, who's probably just as talented as you, and he was made to sign an affidavit apologizing for teaching his students science. While we appreciate great teachers and great innovators, we need to look at Pakistan as a country. We need to realize that every single part of Pakistan is Pakistan. We cannot leave millions towards radicalization and enjoy education in certain institutions. You saw what great teachers can do. Instead of appreciating that, promoting that, if he was put in jail day one when he tried teaching people science, how many other peoples would follow his path? It would simply not happen in Pakistan. There's a 31-year-old film director in Pakistan who's winning awards all over the country, and we've banned his film in half of the country. There's a 25-year-old javelin thrower, Arshad Nadeem. He won us gold at the Commonwealth, and what did we do? We sent him to the next competition injured, without a coach and a doctor. We're all disappointed at Pakistan's Cricket World Cup performance, a statement that will make me look like an idiot if they have a comeback and somebody watches this in 2024. But you had a young fast bowler who was playing injured and you did not give him the adequate medical resources. Whereas other teams protected their players for years. There's a 25-year-old girl that's known worldwide as a symbol of education, and you have educational institutes in Pakistan who literally teach students to hate her. Is it really the problem of the youth that they're not leading Pakistan into the future? Or is it about time that a certain generation lets go of the ideas that they've held on to so tightly? So much so that they become noose around our necks. So much so that we've replaced history with ideology. We're in one of the most elite institutions in Pakistan. We're in the country where the foundational document of this country was passed. And I'm sure most of you do not know the date the Lahore Resolution was passed. A few kilometers away from here. And yes, it's called the Lahore Resolution, not the Pakistan Resolution. This is so much this is how much we've replaced history with ideology. We've replaced history with narratives. We've replaced our heroes with villains. A few kilometers from here, Abdus Salam thought about how nuclear forces and electromagnetic forces interact. It's because of that somebody discovered the Higgs boson particle. He's not our hero. We're stifling innovation. We're stifling questioning. Questioning is seen as a negative in classrooms. Teachers often say you're not allowed to question the author. Why not? If Einstein was told that, we wouldn't get the science that he produced. If Newton had not wondered why the apple fell, maybe we wouldn't figure out what gravity is as soon as we did. If we are to consider ourselves part of this global world, and if we are to give our kids the same opportunities as kids around the world, we need to rethink education. We need to rethink the world. And we need to allow a free exchange of ideas. Rather than just complaining, I do have some solutions. I do have a 10-point agenda, which I hope who the people in power, when they listen to this, try and implement this. The first is very simple. It's something that educationalists around the country have spoken about. It's as dire as you think it is. We need an education emergency in Pakistan. Unless we think of it as a problem, we can't go around fixing it, unless it's a priority item on the list. If we spend our governments figuring out if they'll still be in power 6 months down the line or not, they're not going to worry about how our kids will be 15 years into the future. And once you leave those millions of kids to the hands of extremists, to the hands of radicalists, don't be surprised when the fire burns us as well. You cannot light a fire in another city and think we're safe in our little bubbles that we've created. The second is we need to make education local. Rather than constantly comparing ourselves to the US, to the UK, to Europe, we need to look around and realize the fact that Pakistan is part of South Asia. Bangladesh has managed to put 98% of their children in school. How did they do that? They made education local. Whereas we're afraid to even make government local. I'm wondering whether this, we're in a building where half the institution wonders whether this is a federal or a government or a provincial organization. So if the guy sitting on the reception above does not know where his salary is coming from, how do we expect somebody sitting in Islamabad to figure out how a kid in Gadisha goes to school or not? Make education local. Do not be afraid of local governments. Allot the resources that they need. If somebody drives in a Vigo with 2 police cars behind him to go to a fruit seller to figure out if he's selling bananas at the price the government has decided today or not, maybe a teacher responsible for the future of Pakistan should be paid more than that person at least. Do not expect the best to come to education if the pay scale will remain what it is. Number 4, learn from your history. We did a student exchange with Germany where students from my class could go to Germany and interact with their class. One thing that they realized is there might never be another Nazi Germany because every single day they're taught about the evils of Nazi Germany. They're taught about what Hitler did wrong. Whereas I'm from Karachi, we have a clothing store called Hitler. It's pointless expecting your students to know more about the hippocampus or the sinus venenis if they're worried about their families being picked up at home, if they're worried about if they're going to be harassed in their campuses. Unless you give them a safe space to learn, it's pointless trying to tell them how to recognize how kidney stones will be passed. Get the experts to do the job. We have educational institutes in Pakistan being run by retired officers. We have educational institutes in Pakistan which are run by bureaucrats, which are run by politicians. Unless you get the people who know what they're doing in the right places, we will be stuck where we are. We've tried doing something for decades, it has not worked. It's misattributed to Einstein, but the quote still works. The idea of stupidity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results. Number 6, go digital. EdTech provides you an excellent opportunity to get into the homes of millions of students that you would never be able to do in a traditional classroom. Use that. And number 7 is the media. As much as the phones are the future, most of Pakistan still relies on TV. If you put on PTV right now, there is an equal chance that there'll be news on there as there is to there'll be a lesson on American Sundi se kaise lada jaye. If that's what we're teaching our children in 2023, and somehow we're told this is how bad Pakistan has always been, maybe your elders will know. They grew up watching Cosmos by Carl Sagan on PTV in Urdu. You had an entire generation who was told about the world. Whereas today we have a teacher in Bannu being harassed for teaching science. It's not that Pakistan has always been as bad as it is. It's because there's certain people in power who've deliberately brought us here. Until we don't realize that, we will stay here. Number 7, it's a constitutional right. Education should be free. The government of Pakistan recognizes that they have a right to give every single child an education. When you put on TV and they cry about the Constitution, when their rights are impeached, when they're put in jail, you should also turn around and be like, why don't you uphold this Constitution when you drive in your Vigos every single day and you see children on the street outside of school? Where's the Constitution then? Number 9, let students be political. I think we've confused the fact that certain people abuse on Twitter as there being political consciousness in Pakistan. Politics does not mean partisanship. The fact that you support a political party is well and good, but that should not be the beginning of end of your politics. A few miles from here, there was a student solidarity march organized 2-3 years ago. And what did Pakistan do? We put sedition charges on the organization or on the organizers of a student march. We've banned student unions. How do you expect a political class to emerge when you're not allowed the opportunity to discuss politics in school? Right now, most of you go to class thinking about Israel and Palestine. Most of you have seen videos of what is happening in Gaza. I'm sure a part of your mind is always thinking about that. Now imagine all the students who come to this university or who come to other universities from Balochistan, from parts of Pakistan where their lives are equally as bad. How do we expect them to sit in class and learn about the world when they're concerned whether their families will be alive when they go back home for vacations or not? Politics or being apolitical is a matter of privilege. When we turn around and say we should keep politics out of the classroom, that's a political statement. You're bringing politics into the classroom by saying that. By saying that we're denying you the opportunity to feel like a human being or to think about your family or to think about what's happening in the world when you're sitting in this classroom learning about how the heart functions. That's political as well. And my last appeal to everybody of a certain generation in Pakistan is youth quotas are not enough. They will not work. You need to let go. You need to realize that if you want the next generation to handle the reins of this country, you need to let go of that reins first. And that's simply the thought that I'm going to leave you all with today. Things that we've done in the past, as much as we might love the idea of them working, they have not worked. If you need new ideas, if you need innovation, if you need entrepreneurship, if you need to try things that might just work, we don't need the average age of the leadership of Pakistan to be 70. At 60, civil servants are told to retire, but the average age of leadership, the top leadership in Pakistan, is 70. So we're telling the country after 60, you're not capable enough to stand on the road and direct traffic, but here are the keys to the entire country, run it. And for all the kids out there, I think there's a lot of jingoism that's sold to you. There's a lot of a reiteration of JFK's idea of ask not what your country has done for you, ask what you've done for your country. Ask what the country has done for you. I think it's about time that nationalism cannot be forced down your throat, or you cannot be made to love something just because somebody is telling you to. Feel that love, feel that ownership. If you feel that something is going wrong and you need to fix it, do it. Do it even when there is massive obstructions in your way. Do it together, do it strongly. There are enough of us. There are enough of us on the other side who have hope in all of you. And when I say the youth problem is a youth opportunity, it's not because I'm hopeful in an abstract idea of Pakistan that exists in the minds of few. I'm hopeful in the millions of people in Pakistan that I see who feel strongly about themselves, their communities, and when all of you come together, that is the Pakistan that we want to see. So there is a massive youth opportunity in Pakistan. What that will end up being is as much a decision of all of you, of the 100 million people in 7 years, as it is the people who are not letting you be who you are. Thank you.